Co-broker deals can either make or break your sanity. So how do you stay professional, protect your client, and get to the closing table when the other agent is dropping the ball? In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to deal with co-brokers like a pro.
Welcome to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things real estate, helping you take the road less traveled to real estate success. I am your co-host, Curtis Haddock, alongside Casey Tudor and the one and only Brooke Massey. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing good.
I don't want to mess up my hair.
Fair.
Do it. Just kidding. I know.
I'm never going to do it again since you didn't do it. It's like when everyone jumps in the pool and you don't.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't jump in the pool either.
Yeah.
Do you have hair to mess up? Enough of it?
When I went to the dentist the other day, she's like, "Could you take your hat off, sir?" So, and I was like, "Sure." And I was like, "But I was doing this for your benefit to keep all this hair out of the way." And she's like, "Oh, it must be real hard."
Oh, that's so
You're
funny.
such a dad.
I know. Got a joke. Hey, you guys want to hear a joke real quick?
Sure.
Yes.
Do you know what every dad needs for Father's Day?
I don't know.
Another pair of golf pants. You know why?
Why?
Because he's already got a hole in one.
Stupid.
Woo! Podcast's over. No, I'm just kidding.
Dun-dun-dun.
No, when we're dealing with co-agents and co-brokers, it can be, sometimes it can be very pleasant and sometimes it could be nightmares.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes it could be a very good agent and it's still a nightmare. Sometimes it could be a brand new agent and be really great. You just don't know, but kind of how you guys handle these processes and dealing with these other agents really can kind of make or break you and really save your clients.
So we're going to talk about a few things dealing with co-brokers and co-agents. The first thing we're going to talk about is set the expectation early. I cannot emphasize. I mean, we might use the word expectation too much to where it loses its meaning, but that's how important it is. I mean, you have to set the expectation in everything that you do when it comes to real estate, with your clients, with the other agents, with your vendors, with everybody, right? It's going to save you so many headaches and so many, it's going to make difficult conversations easier, potentially, if you set expectations early. In order to do that, though, you have to know what expectations to set, and that's why it's important to have people in your corner to fill you in on what you need to do, how you need to do it, and so on and so forth. We're going to talk about how to handle those agents that are a little bit more difficult to handle, but how to handle it with tact and professionalism. As you said, you really don't know going into a transaction unless you've dealt with a particular agent before. You don't know how the transaction is going to go.
Right.
And if it ends up being one of those agents that is difficult, and we'll talk about like what makes other agents so difficult and our opinion as to why they can be that way. But we definitely want to talk about how to handle that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about, the importance of building strong relationships with your peers. Mm-hmm. And I think too often, and especially in real estate, we're competitors. We're competitors with a lot of people are competitors within their own office, but especially between broker to broker. Mm-hmm. And people get really prideful about like who they've hung their license with, so much so that it causes them to have a difficult time of just building good relatitions with people.
Yeah, because they're better than everyone else.
Yeah.
How can I deal with all this?
Right. And it's like we all know there's some agents that we could think of in each of our industries, or in each of our locations, I'm sure, that where whenever you see their name come up on a contract, you're either excited to work with them or you're not excited to work with them. Mm-hmm. And you want to be the person that people get excited to work with. Mm-hmm. Because if you're the other person, then in times where you're in multiple offer situations or you're trying to negotiate stuff for your buyers or sellers, you may not they may not want to work with you. I know agents that will tell their sellers or buyers, like, this is going to be a really difficult transaction.
I've done it.
Because of how this agent operates.
Yep.
If you're ready to go to war, essentially, then
I'll get my boxing gloves.
Buckle up and let's go.
Yeah. They basically think that they're saving their client by busting a deal.
I don't
behavior.
get it. We all have the same goal for the most part.
Yeah.
And we all share at least in one goal, and that's get to the closing table and close this thing. Why would a seller want to sell their house to not close?
Right.
Why would a buyer want to buy a house to not close? Why would agents want to help a buyer or list a property to not close? We all want to get to the closing table, and so we should be looking for ways on how to do that. Now, I will stress before we get into everything that where we are here in Oklahoma, we are a transaction broker state.
Smart.
Okay. And that's a huge thing that you have to take into consideration, because we don't have any our clients we don't have vicarious liability, meaning we don't have to we're not representing our clients' best interests. A lot of people confuse that, and they still want to say, I'm going to do
customer service,
what's best for you.
Yeah.
And that's not the case in a transaction. When you're a transaction broker, you're going to do what's best for the transaction.
Yeah.
And I think majority of people have a hard time separating those two factors. And it's like, well, so you're telling me that if it's not good for my client, but it's good for the transaction, I have to do the thing that's not good for my client?
That's what the contract says, yes.
If that's what's best for the transaction to make it a fair and equitable market, then that's our job as agents.
Yeah.
Most states the two states that we're in that have single party broker, they also have the option to be a transaction broker, and most agents operate from a transaction broker place. But I do know it's becoming more popular to go back to the single party broker aspect to it, because it's a way to separate yourselves from the competition. It's like, hey, how does that brokerage make you enter a relationship? They're not going to look out for your best interest. I am going to look out for your best interest, and so sign up with me as a single party broker. And that's a way to win clients over in those states. But for the most part, we're going to come at this from the perspective of representing the transaction to make so it's fair and equitable. So I wanted to throw that out there so that you guys weren't. So that you, especially if you're in other parts of the country, you kinda,
like listening, being like, that Curtis Haddock.
They don't know what they're talking about.
He doesn't even work for his
How
client.
dare him?
Yeah.
You might go viral though.
I could.
Yeah, and then they'll go viral talking crap on you, and then all of a sudden, all these people, they're like, oh yeah, this guy makes sense. We should follow him.
Yeah.
What brokerage is he at? Oh, we should call him up.
I'm liking the sound of that. Yeah, somebody make a video about how I suck.
Yeah.
Do it.
Stop talking about it. We're talking about all the things. We're talking about what's right.
Yeah, because we have every opinion we have is right.
That's right.
100%.
That's why we're here. That's why they hired us to do this podcast.
Exactly.
They hired us.
They brought us in.
We
Yeah,
don't
they
talk
did.
about who they is.
The
though.
network, Brooke.
The network.
Yeah.
Be careful.
You don't remember about the network? Hired. They set this up for us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Casey
technically,
knows.
Yeah.
if
and
you
the
want to
net-
get real deep.
And the network needs to get us some sponsorship so we can quit drinking out of styrofoam.
Yeah, we picked
I mean,
we
these
picked a
are some
terrible
good
network.
styrofoam cups, though, Casey.
Yeah, but they're still styrofoam.
Dixie cups. Dixie styrofoam cups.
Number one styrofoam brand, but this is paper.
This
not
is number
styrofoam.
one styrofoam cup
Styrofoam.
for real estate agents.
God, this is paper. We gotta stop saying styrofoam. That's really bad for the environment.
It
we're
is.
gonna get we're gonna go viral for another reason. We don't
I want
not
them
use
to say-
styrofoam.
I want them
everyone
to say
know.
I'm stupid because I kept saying it's styrofoam. I mean, it's kind of styrofoam on the
I was
outside.
just going with you. It kind of.
Yeah.
It-
You know,
No,
it's
just
it's
insulated.
50-50.
It's just insulated.
Yeah.
It's just.
Don't you insulate with styrofoam though?
no, you insulate with asbestos.
I don't know. Anyway,
If that cup was made before 1950. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so let's start with setting expectations early. So when you guys are approaching a transaction and let's say it's an agent you've never worked with before, okay? And I think you can look at this from whether you're writing a contract on the buy side or whether you're receiving a contract from the sell side. So I'll let you guys decide how you want to share, how you set expectations. But what do you guys do to set expectations with the co-agent, co-broker, when you're working with them? Brand new person, you don't know how they operate, who they are, anything like that.
Well, usually the expectation starts with the phone call. Like if you're going to put an offer in, I always call them so I can kind of get a feel for them. And that my tone basically sets the expectation of like, hey, I'm experienced. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to get us to closing. My clients are easy people, or they're reasonable. And then just kind of explain why we're offering what we're offering, and then just kind of go from there. But usually if I need to like actually teach another agent something, like especially an experienced agent, I always tell them that my attorney told me so.
Yeah.
And it works because I'll say, oh, and some of it, Max did tell us. And so it's just things that I remember from our classes, but it's just like things like,
just make sure that you are right.
Yeah. Well, it's like, for example, someone told me, you need to, he goes, I don't need to tell you how to do your job, but just make sure that you strike out the things that your seller didn't want to fix. And I sent it over. I didn't strike them out because the new TRR, you don't strike things out. So then he told me, he's like, hey, you didn't strike those out. I go, yeah, because that's not how you do it. I was like, I've had our attorney come in and teach a class on this. And then he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like didn't question it after that.
Well, I do think the thing that you said that I think a majority of agents will just look past is that you pick up the phone and you call the agent.
Yeah.
I think that we live in a world now where we're so used to working behind a screen, text messaging people, emailing people, whatever it is, just communicating non-verbally.
Yeah.
And you cannot set expectations properly or convey your message properly without picking up the phone and having a conversation to get a feel for who they are, the type of agent they're going to be, and how they're going to approach this transaction.
I was going to say that's probably my biggest thing is just the biggest expectation is setting how I communicate and how we should expect to communicate with each other.
Yeah. So I just put a deal under contract and, surprise, you guys. And
congrats.
Thank you.
He's finally figuring it out.
I'm so proud.
It's July, Curtis.
Wait, who gets your override? I'm just kidding.
Bricks.
Yeah.
I know.
It's actually good. It's actually a good thing for the company.
It's a full override.
Yeah.
That's the network.
It's the only time that they get 20%. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm talking about a different network.
That's
The
it's a different
network. The network. No, but it starts with something as simple as like I made a phone call before I even knew if we were going to be writing a contract, just in case we were.
Yes.
I knew that this was a property that, they don't look at houses very often. So when they do, they're really interested. And so
Dos Equis.
Ooh, I'd take that sponsorship.
There you go. That's how you do it for real estate.
Start drinking Dos Equis lime and salt.
Guys, we got to get these sponsorships before we start giving out all these shout outs. You know how many people are going to buy that
But that's
now?
how you
That's
get
right.
sponsorships, Curtis.
No, it's not. You get followers. That's how you get sponsorships.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to do both, and then
Yeah,
you start
you do.
tagging them.
You got to get the
No,
followers,
you
then
don't
you
get
mention the
them free.
brand.
No, seriously, I watched my friend who's a big DJ, and that's how he's gotten a bunch of things, and he just starts freaking tagging them
all the people
time.
I've seen, the sponsors will reach out to them based on their demographic.
Yeah.
I mean,
If it-
he has a huge following, so it does help.
Yes.
So
Well, back to my story.
That's the next episode. Yeah.
Back to my story. We were on our way and I forgot kind of what came up, and you guys are going to say surprise with me, but we were running about 10 minutes late, and it was not my fault. So it was actually a combination of a lot of things. Like when the buyer could get off work, they had to grab a bite to eat real quick, and we thought we could get there by a certain time. Well, we were going to be 10 minutes late. I had scheduled the appointment for 45 minutes anyways,
That's
but it was a occupied property, and so I wanted to, just in case they wanted to put an offer in, I wanted to signal to the agent like, hey, I'm a professional, and I want, if this does turn into a contract, I want you to want to work with me, number one. And number two, I'm hoping that it helps set up good negotiations if they did want to put an offer in. So all I did was pick up the phone and say, hey, I don't know if this matters to your sellers. I just wanted to let you know we're running about 10 minutes late. If I just wanted to let you know we should still be out of there by the time our appointment is over. But in case your sellers need more time, I just wanted to let you know.
That goes so far.
It does.
Just saying.
It
Well,
does.
you want that. I always like if I have an agent calling me about a deal, and this just goes in general. If I like the person or I know the person's not going to waste my time and be friendly, I'll answer their call almost when I'm doing anything.
Yeah.
But if I know they're going
Be
to suck my
difficult.
time and my energy and be difficult,
Yeah.
they're going to wait.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the signal we're sending is like, I'm going to be easy for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, when I had that conversation, his response, one, was super appreciative. And it's not a big deal. You're good to go. But I could tell he was professional. He appreciated it. And this wasn't going to be a transaction nightmare.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of set the tone early, like, hey, let's be cordial to each other. Let's be professionals to each other. And if we do end up writing a contract, then, let's continue that framework.
You could also like find something out too, because sometimes like when I've done that with agents, they're like motivated to sell the property sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so especially in a shifting market like this all across the country, it's like they're like people just blab and tell me all kinds of stuff about it, about the sellers, what they're doing, their situation.
Yeah, they give their clients' motives away every time.
I mean, yeah, they do.
They do.
Sometimes they
That's
do.
why
yeah.
I
Like,
shut up
man.
and listen too.
Yeah.
I'll just let them blab, but that could help you too, and it could help your buyer. You could help you talk to your buyer about making an offer, right? That can make or break it too.
Yeah. I was going to say something a while ago. Now I forgot.
Oh,
Well, there's agents out there. I got to say this before I forget again. I love sarcastically the agents who they have this big name in the industry and everyone loves them and they're at all the events and the realtor parties like, oh, they're so great and I'm a top producer. And then I call them about an offer. They don't answer. So I send it anyways. I say, call me when you get a chance. We can discuss. But don't call me. They send back a counter or an acceptance, whatever. And then every single time I have to call them, they never answer the phone.
So they just wouldn't talk to you, and then you had no chance to talk through things. And so,
Not once.
who knows that maybe the
That deal busted.
Did it really? It doesn't not surprising. Not surprising.
Yep.
Another way that I set the expectation on this one, whenever I found out that they were wanting to write an offer, I ran comps on the property. Okay. And the offer that we were going to write is $43,000 under ask. Okay. And the price point was in the 600. So that's a significant value under, And so, and I knew, I mean, the sellers had did a lot of work. It was a new house when they bought it. They'd been there for under 2 years, with the market conditions the way they are with new homes. I mean, they did put a lot of money into it. But I could tell it's like, man, they're trying to get their commissions out of it. Like they're trying to lose the least amount of money as possible, And I didn't want my buyers to be the ones stuck with this property, being like deep into it, not be able to sell it in the future, right? And get their money back out of it. And so I knew that the offer was not going to be great. And so what did I do? I set the expectation. I didn't tell them what the offer was, but I called and I said, hey, they are interested in the property. They're getting with their lender to talk about getting a pre-approval, and they're trying to put some things together to see if it's something that they want to pursue. So I wasn't like telling him they're for sure we're going to write an offer. It was more like, hey, they're serious enough about it to talk to somebody. They're trying to get their finances together to see if they can make this work. Just to kind of give you a heads up, they are strong buyers. However, unfortunately, and this is not a good thing for all of us. No one's going to like hearing this. It's going to be a contingency, and so I just said they do have to sell their house in order to get this one, and so it is what it is, and that's the market that we are in. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. And then the only other thing that I think that your sellers might have an issue with if we put an offer in is going to be the price. Like we're trying to do everything we can to come up with value. I'm pulling comps. I was like, would your sellers be open to telling me how much money they spent on a brand new shop? And he told me, what they spent, everything that they did, which we had kind of already taken that into consideration. But it's like, we're not going to give them full value for the shop that they built that my buyers wouldn't have built,
Yeah.
And so anyways, it gave him the heads up that this offer is going to come in, but if it does, the price is not going to be good.
How you approached it and the tone that you gave to is like money, because other agents will call and be like, where did you find your comps?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like,
yeah.
that's a terrible tone to say.
Yes,
I
because
get
then
that
you're accusatory
busy,
and like,
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all I was going to say. So,
Well,
just setting the tone, like delivering bad news, quote unquote, is not always the best, but you also don't know the situation on the other side. So just having open communication and just delivering it softly and just being honest and being like, because they may be like, oh, well, did you find this random comp? It's blah, 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 or something.
I could tell this agent knew what he was doing also. And so I had a feeling that it was one of those situations where he probably knew that the price was going to be a challenge.
Yes.
But the sellers were probably like, in order to get the listing, it's like, no, this is where we want to list, and let's at least try it.
Absolutely.
And
And
very
we
much
all have those.
Yeah, and I felt like it was one of those situations. I don't know for sure. I didn't ask, but I just assumed. And whether I'm right or wrong in that is irrelevant, because I set the expectation of where we're coming from and that we don't want to end up paying for them to be able to afford the commissions, because when they sell their house, they're going to be paying the commissions when they sell. And so that's where we're at, and that's where we're coming from. And we were able to get that thing under contract, and it ended up being 28,000. No. They cut it in half. So it ended up being like $23,000 under ask price, something along those lines. I have to look at it. But I feel like it's a great deal for both sides.
Yeah.
And so we were able to have an open dialogue. He was able to tell me, here's a little bit more of what they're, with money that they put into it. And so like, I got their position. They don't want to like just lose all this money that they've poured into it. We know we're going to get an appraisal, right? Mm-hmm. And so if the appraisal comes in low, then we can address it at that time. And if the appraisal doesn't come in low, then my buyers can be happy, and so on and so forth. And so anyways, it really helped to negotiate that thing peacefully without anyone getting angry and being like, you lowballed us, how dare you?
Because you already had the conversation.
Yeah, and because I also know that if you don't have those conversations, you don't know what that agent's going to say to their buyer seller. So when I'm actually talking to the agent and setting the expectations, I'm talking to them in a way where I want them to deliver this information to their client, because
you can quickly tell like if it's a them thing or a buyer's thing.
Oh yeah.
Or vice versa, a seller thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, we always say that, like, no, like you gotta, I'm like, is that how you told your seller or buyer?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, no. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not as bad if we talk about it this way, and then people agree or whatever. But it's so, yes.
If you're dealing with a new agent, it's a great way to help them with the communication to their clients.
It's all about influence. I haven't read the book Influence yet, but I assume this is what the book is about.
Yeah.
I've read the first couple chapters, but it's like it's about influencing others. So if you deliver bad news negatively and all grumpy well, then that's how they're going to go and deliver it, because it's all crappy.
Yeah.
That's not what the book's about.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I'm just messing with you.
well, okay. Well, then not that book. There's probably another book, but I forgot to say, but but two, also how you deliver it to just everybody. So
Yeah.
there's a way and a time and place. And like, I know some people say like delivering bad news early is really good. I always like to, if I have bad news, then I like to try to have some kind of solution too. So just all about how you deliver things.
Yeah.
I was dealing with a for sale by owner, and I brought a buyer to him, and I told him, I was like, hey man, I was like, if you take her offer, like, I was like, we'll be really easy on you. And he's like, okay. And then we busted it.
Oh my gosh.
It was his fault though.
Oh,
Of course.
The roof was totaled, and he had 2 insurance adjusters tell him no, and we had 2 or 3 roofers because we were the third buyer, and he said something about the fascia needing to be worked on. I think it was the roof the whole time. Buyers kept walking over it, and then now he's like, then my client. This is why you got to be careful on who you hire and how you behave, because this seller said, I'm not replacing that roof because it doesn't need it. And then my client said, okay, well, how about we go look at this house? Well, it was $30,000 cheaper. So then when I sent the for sale by owner the release, he's like, well, would they still move forward if I paid cash for the roof? I was like,
Too late now, man.
Yeah.
Too late.
If he would have done that, my client wouldn't have looked online for a different house.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I know he didn't want to replace the roof, but it's like, I told him, I was like, I'll help you navigate it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll help you with your insurance because I know they're going to replace it.
Yeah.
They're just telling you no and you're accepting it.
Well,
and then his friend
because
told him it didn't need it.
Yeah, well, because they want you to accept it so they don't have to pay for it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name. With insurance, you almost always have to go twice
Yep. That's right.
to get. And then,
Well,
well,
a
I'll
lot
tell
of-
you, unless you're with USAA, they don't make you do that.
Well, with
That's
roofs
nice.
too, I think a lot of people.
I do it one time.
I
and
thought we
they don't
weren't.
even-
I
they
thought
don't
we weren't
even-
giving shout outs.
I know I messed up.
Wow. We'll take that sponsorship.
Yeah, we will.
But with roofs in general, I think a lot of people don't realize like you get a roofer to like advocate for you
Yeah.
against your insurance, essentially, just like
Yeah.
a real estate agent.
But even
So-
I've had recently, I've had those situations. The roofer's there to advocate, and the insurance still says no, and the insurance guy doesn't even get on the roof sometimes.
But then-
they just fly a little drone, and it's like they can't see everything. But they're doing that to do their due diligence, and then someone in the office makes the decision, and all you have to do is contest the decision and say no, they didn't even get on the roof. And so then they're gonna have to come back out, and then they'll approve it for you.
Yeah.
So let's
What's the
You.
next one?
yeah, let's talk through. Okay, so that, setting expectations, we can all agree, super important.
Yeah.
And we gave some examples. There's plenty of examples. Like, I mean, even that we didn't talk about. Like, if you're on the the listing side, there's expectations that you can set. Like, if something's going to be as is, and you know that there's like tons of damage, and it's like, no, listen,
But the roof needs to be replaced.
yeah, and we priced it in a way to to account for those things, so that way you're letting them know. Again, it's tons of examples we can give for setting expectations. Let's talk about when you get on the phone, you start setting expectations, and the other agent just isn't having it.
Ooh.
They are like, it doesn't matter. It's they are just angry for no reason, bitter, and a lot of times it's like they want to like out negotiate you,
Yeah.
right?
They just want to be the
you know?
bigger dog or
Yeah,
whatever.
and again, when we're in a transaction broker situation, to me there really is no out negotiating anyone. It's more, again, if we're representing the transaction, then we're trying to make it a fair and equitable transaction, and we're trying to help our buyers and sellers navigate through the contract so that they don't end up getting stuck in something that they don't want, so that they don't get sued, and so on and so forth. So you guys have some stories of how you've had to handle some pretty challenging agents? I know you have some,
I was
but
like,
not by name. Don't say names.
I was like, I don't know if I can say them without cussing.
Yeah,
Are you
that's a good
going to
one.
talk about that one? You had an
no,
agent that tried to get your
like to-
client fired from their job. You remember?
Yes.
Were you thinking about that one, or?
Yeah, but I don't even know what I want to say about it. But I do try to, with people like that, especially this particular agent, I like to hit them with like very blunt sweetness is what I call it.
Yeah.
So I just straight up call them out, but I kind of like laugh and make a joke about it and be like, like I thought we have the same common goal, right? And I get them to agree with us.
Yeah.
Oh, your
And then
friends?
they start to calm down. But no, that started over a leaking toilet that wasn't leaking per se.
Yeah, and part of your client was at fault for some of it, right?
Yes.
But
So what happened with that of him getting fired? I guess I should jump to
did
that.
he actually get fired?
I don't remember. I'd have to find out.
Yeah.
But so my seller, he just got his what is it called, a journeyman license to be an HVAC guy.
Yep.
His first year, just got his license. Well, we were in TRR. We're negotiating some repairs.
So everyone
and-
knows when you have a journeyman, you have to have someone like oversee your work.
Yes.
Just so you guys know that. Okay.
And so we had some HVAC stuff that needed to get done. And so the seller said, "Hey, can I do it through my company?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. As long as you provide an invoice and have everything and it looks legitimate, then sure." And so we negotiated the TRR, and then we sent over the invoices and everything, and how he worded the invoice. And granted, the other agent on the other side also has all this HVAC knowledge, so
Didn't help.
supposedly.
Yeah.
And he was somebody that literally reads every single fine-tuned tiny little detail, which rightfully so.
The agent.
The agent.
Yeah, okay.
And so he saw something on the invoice, and he started to raise a red flag. And so he just started being like weird, and he started wanting his own HVAC person to come over there. And so their HVAC person come over there. And so now we have two different opinions of what's done and what's not done. And so my seller sent the invoice, and they didn't necessarily complete the work all the way, I think. So yeah, there was some parts
Was
to
it on?
to
But
be failed.
was that on purpose, or it was on? It was kind of like.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
was kind of like wishy.
Maybe-
It was like he said, she said. So it's like,
Yeah.
how do you really prove
So
whatever?
possibility that he did it on purpose, thinking he could
Yes.
get away with fixing the leak or whatever it was.
But he wasn't admitting that to me, and
Yeah.
I can't just assume that.
Yep.
I just have to go with the facts that I'm being told. And so, long story short,
Well, he found out that your
that
your
they hadn't
guy
done
did
it
the
yet.
work,
Yes.
or he hadn't done it at all.
There was a couple pieces he hadn't done yet, but he did do some
He
other
did do
pieces.
some, but he found out that your guy actually is the person who did some of it too.
Yes, because he asked me,
Yeah.
and so I told him, and so then he started getting super investigated into what it means to be a journeyman and all the licensing and all of this stuff, so much to the point where he ended up calling the actual board and trying to get my seller fired in the middle of the transaction,
losing his license, and
everything, getting the company in trouble. And I'm like,
Dude,
I get it, but
we could have fixed this.
yes,
If we would have figured that, we would have said, hey, we'll get someone out here to do the work and sign off on it.
And I'll tell you, that's ultimately what we did.
Yeah.
And then he still afterwards kept going
Yeah,
after
pursuing-
him.
even after the transaction
And I was
over,
like,
right? Yeah.
you're going to make they're trying to buy a house too. I
Right.
was like, if you make him lose his job, they're not going to be able to buy a house.
This is people's lives. And I mean, and
Like,
granted, he made a
come
mistake.
on. Yes.
And even if you assume he was doing it on purpose, there's no justification.
And it wasn't
for
like,
that.
I mean, I
Yeah.
get it. It's a good chunk of money. And
Yeah.
don't blame the buyers. But this guy, it wasn't the buyers. It was the agent that took it
Yes.
over and beyond, almost destroyed someone's life, destroyed the transaction, destroyed everything. And I'm just like
For
we could
what?
have just fixed it.
I had a
Yeah.
similar
It
experience.
wasn't
with that
like
same agent.
$10,000 or an HVAC needing
I forgot
replaced.
that Casey knew who we were talking about. And
Yeah.
that he had a bad one just recently too, right?
No, this
Oh,
was
and then
quite
another
this was a
agent
little while ago.
in
Oh,
our
yeah.
office worked a deal
With that agent.
with that agent, and I was like, is it so and so? And they're like, yes. I'm like, just be careful.
Because
Read everything.
wasn't there issues with that one too, or no?
She started to have some issues. I don't remember what she said, and then I forgot you did a deal with him or the agent. It doesn't matter. They don't know who it is. They have no clue. There's lots of agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to share your story with that, or I mean, I guess
Well-
really we don't need to share a story. I mean, you can, if you want to. Do you want
Well,
to?
my story is worse with an agent that I did one with. This agent brings a buyer who she's related to. Did not disclose that. I talked to an attorney about it, and he said the way she's related is very close, so it would be hard to go at her on that. But basically the client was her ex-son-in-law, and she watches the daughter every day. So they're family. Well, so they basically what happened was he had a hard time getting pre-approved, and we kicked out another buyer to get this buyer in.
Oh gosh.
And it took him. Yeah, this is what you get. It took us 5 months to get the house closed, and it was stuff would happen like, okay, we'll extend it, but you can't. And that lender started like, he sent me a really nasty text message about how dare you get involved in this and try to do whatever. And it's like, dude, like you're like, because he kept saying I need more time. And it's like, why? And he's like, well, I don't need to tell you that. You're not my client. It's like, it was stuff like
so
that.
Rude.
And it's like, yeah, but you're asking us to extend and you're not giving us a reason. And then, so finally it was the week of Christmas, and we presented the idea of, okay, the guy does have money. His finances are just kind of crazy because he's self-employed. I said, here's the deal. We'll let you move in, pay rent, because my clients didn't want to pay 2 mortgages.
Yeah.
And they liked the buyer. Okay. They had met them, and they said, you can move in, but you have to use Home Connect's lending, because that way I can stay on top of it and not be treated that way. And I said, I want you to talk to him, get a pre-approval by Home Connect's, and then you can move in.
Another sponsorship.
And start paying, and start paying rent. Guess what happened? That night, they didn't get pre-approved with Jacob. In fact, they didn't get pre-approved at all for another week, and they moved in without our permission.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so we almost called the cops.
That was the same agent?
No, this is a different agent.
Oh, okay.
And this
I was
agent,
like, oh
this
my
agent was
gosh.
just like, instead of being, and she was doing things like she sent the contract over without a compensation agreement. She left a bunch of blanks. Like, I could have drug her through the mud. I tried to help her. I said, hey, do you want to get paid? Because this doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And then I did so much for her and her client to try to help them. And then towards the end is like, how dare you? You almost put these people out on the street. How could you do this to us? And I'm like, you guys are completely out of line.
Yes.
She's on my short list of never agains. And
sometimes you can't.
I've got like 3 or 4
that,
agents.
You know?
Oh yeah, I have another one.
And to what he said earlier, next time I get an offer on that, and if she brings me a buyer, I'm gonna tell my seller, hey, you better be careful, because they might just move in.
Right.
Because she'll allow it.
Yeah.
And then she said that we left the door unlocked.
But even if that doesn't give you a right to move in.
Yeah.
I know,
Yes.
but that's like how the whole transaction was. It was comments like that. And I mean,
tell me how that makes.
Okay, so you want to know my biggest pet peeve? I know you guys probably know you already know this, and you're probably thinking it right now, right? Are you?
Well,
my biggest pet
I was
peeve.
like, you have a few.
Okay. Well, the one I'm specifically talking about is when an agent says, "I've been doing this for 25 years. I think I know how it's done," or "This is how we've been doing it."
Then why are we in this position?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I just cannot stand whenever people resort to that. It tells me that you are insecure and you're losing the argument or the battle or whatever, because you have to go there to try to. You're using your years of experience to try to get your way, which tells me that you don't have enough skill to get your way through any other means.
I love when they say, like, then I get to ask lots of questions.
Yeah.
that you don't know how to answer.
Yeah. So, my biggest thing when they say that, I'm just like, listen, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Like, if you've been doing it for so long, show me through your how you handle the transaction.
Yeah.
Let's have a professional transaction here. If you've been doing it for so long,
This is what you should say next time when they're like, I've been doing this for 30 years. Oh, thank God. What would you do?
Yeah.
In this position, we need your help.
Yeah.
It's like the dad at the home inspection. It's like, hey, Dad, come over here. It's like, what do you think that is, man? How do you think that should be fixed? Oh, that's easy.
Yeah. Oh, maybe you could do it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Just ego.
When they
stroke
say
the ego
that,
a
I
little bit.
have to hold back from saying, "Oh, the infamous saying that nobody likes,"
I almost beat this dad up one time.
because he said it.
No, because he got in the way and he busted the deal.
Oh,
And he approved it in the beginning.
because of like during inspections and stuff, like saying like he knew
he wasn't there. He wasn't there. We did a video call with him, and man, these kids wanted this. This is why
I remember.
This is why people just make your own money and don't take your parents' money, or you got to live with whatever they tell you.
Yeah.
And and it's just like, because I've never taken
both.
money. My parents have never had money to give me, so I just had to get it on my own anyways. But like when I watch these situations, I'm like, this is sad.
Yeah.
Like my this is just kind of a random story, but like my brother-in-law and sister, his dad was going to give them money for new carpet at their old house for Christmas, and so it was like going to give them like $2,000 or something like that. And they said, "Oh, great, we're going to do that, but we'll put some extra money and get wood floors." They said, "No, you're getting carpet." Like they controlled the situation because it was
even though that they were going to put their own money towards
yeah.
it.
They said no. And that's what these dads do at these inspections. It's just like it's their way or the dang highway.
Could you imagine like treating your kids that way when they're adults?
Would never.
In fact, my goal is to be able to give them those things so they can get what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to spoil them. I want them to be able to. I take that back. I do want to spoil them, but I want them to be able to contribute to society and become
Yes.
independent and all those things, but also be able to help them out and give them things. I mean, that's like I feel like that's part of like my why and like why I show up every day to work as hard as I do is because I want to be able to give things to people, you know,
yes.
my kids, you know, co-workers, other
just
family,
wanna
like anyone, you
go
know?
grocery shopping and every time buy the person behind me's groceries.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
No
That'd be
matter how
awesome.
big the cart is.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Did you guys hear about that guy that the lady was honking at him in a drive-through parking lot because he was taking too long to order? And so when he gets up to the window, he says, "I'm going to pay for the lady's. She's obviously having a hard day. I'm going to pay for hers too." And they're like, "Oh, that's so nice of you." So then when he pulls up to the second window, she pulls up to the first one. They're like, "Oh, he got your meal." And so she's like, "Oh," so she feels bad. She's like, "Wait," she's like, "Thank you so much." And then when he gets to the second window, he's like, "Hey, I've got this order, but I also have, here's my receipt. I have the second order too." And he took her food. And so,
no.
so she had to go all the way back through the line to get food.
Oh my God.
So that's what you
That's
get.
I'm
That
gonna
is what
totally
you
use
get.
that.
Well,
I'm
you know,
just kidding,
two
I'm
wrongs
not.
don't make a right. That's wrong.
but it's
That's pretty
hilarious.
messed up.
That is messed up. It's hilarious, but I just
I mean,
you know,
if you're and you hit me on the right day, I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
I mean, because because it's like, oh, he's like saying he could tell she's having a bad day for honking the horn. You know, that's funny. That's funny.
Wow.
Okay, so
Reputation of peers.
Yes. No, we didn't even really talk about how to
Tactic.
even handle those. We just were telling stories. I mean,
That's true.
I was gonna say we could sum it up pretty quickly. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Drink lots of
Ju-
alcohol.
Yeah, that's one
I'm
thing you could do. It comes down to professionalism,
It
I
does.
think, and you know the good old saying that we talk about a lot: just kill them with kindness.
It always works.
It works every time. If you match their emotions, if you match
Then
their
they
anger,
won.
then they have got under your skin and they won. And
Yeah,
I can
that's
tell
correct.
you from experience, I feel like crap anytime that I let anyone get under my skin, and it happens. You guys know, but whenever I don't allow that to happen, people don't know like that it affected me whenever I'm able to not show my emotions, but the point is I feel so much better about it because they can be angry all that they want, but when I am like, when I allow them to just get their emotions out and be angry, and I'm just like, and sometimes I'll even like make them feel like they're in the driver's seat. That's another thing that I do is like, I want, if I can make them feel like they're in control and that they're driving the whole transaction,
But
even better,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't mean I'm going to agree to everything that they do, but it's almost like, okay, well, what would you do in this situation? Or, okay, I understand that perspective. That's a fair point. Let me talk to my clients and see what we can do and try to see if we can come up with something and then
But
go from there.
You know what would help is if you worded it this way. If you sent us the TRR and it said this,
Yeah,
then I can totally talk to my sellers.
Yeah.
And I think I can get them to say yes.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah, I understand.
And then you
that
make
you're
them do
angry.
the work and you
Yeah.
don't have to.
I understand that you're. I understand that you're angry and upset, or your client is, or
Like,
whatever the
feelings are
case
valid.
may be. Yeah, I get it, and so that's not what we want. We want people to enjoy this experience, and so let me see what we can do to help. I can't control my clients just like you can't control your clients, but I can have a conversation with them, and I'm willing to. If you would do this for me, I'll have the conversation with my client. You know, just stuff like that.
Well, it's simple stuff. Yeah, like, hey, like no one wants to start over. Like we're a week out from closing.
Yes.
You know, those kinds of conversations.
You do want to be careful about saying things that gives away all your negotiating leverage too, though. So just be very tactful with what you say. Like don't say like, oh, I mean, they really want, like they'll do anything to not let this fall apart, and like and then you just basically gave away your position, and they're gonna hold strong at whatever they're trying to get you to do. So just whatever you do, don't ever give away like what your clients do or do not want and how bad do they want it.
I would say
unless they tell you can.
I would say game
even if they
plan.
tell you they can, because I think you're going to lose negotiation leverage.
Yeah, my sister one time when they sold their house, they did not want to lose the house they're buying, so they said, just get this house sold. And I said, well, I'm going to do an open house. You want me to offer closing costs? I was like, because that will help. And she's like, yeah. So I did it, and then this lady bought it and offered closing costs. Of course, they didn't have to take it, but then she was like, well, we don't want to pay those.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, but you told me you would.
I know.
I was like, and I got it under contract.
Yeah,
and then they did it, and they were happy, but it was just funny because, like, even if they tell you that's cool,
when it actually comes down to, well, I wanted to at least talk about it.
Yeah.
You know? What were you going to say if you game plan something?
I was going to say, like, if you're going to have like those hard conversations, make a little bit of a game plan. Call your mentor, call your coach, call another friend that you trust that's good at negotiating, and make just a mental game plan if it could go this way or this way. So that way you're a little bit more prepared for those phone calls. So don't just do
role
it on
play,
the whim.
talk through it. I know one of our agents, she's a team leader, and she will role play difficult conversations with her team members before they call the actual client to figure out what they're going to say and what could the response be from the person, and so on and so forth. And I really like that, because it gives you a little bit more confidence to make the phone call, Yeah. So, okay. So, build strong relationships with your peers. That one is so easy, but yet we all want to be against each other for whatever reason.
I'll tell you, I've had an agent. I had a listing. I converted to FSBO. It was my first showing, and it was an agent that we became really close. We're friends. And she wrote an over asking, didn't ask for closing costs. Very easy close at the title company I wanted to close at. Then inspections came up. She didn't ask for anything. She personally bought all of my seller's furniture, and we closed in 2 weeks. Easiest transaction. I didn't have to negotiate anything. She called me and she's like, I talked to my buyers, and I said, and she's like, this is so-and-so, like, don't make me do this to so-and-so. And she got her buyers to agree, and it was like one of the easiest transactions just because I knew her.
I'm working another deal right now with an agent that it was not an enjoyable transaction because the first time, because how much my sellers had to come down to get it done, but he was so good and professional, and he dealt with his clients who were just basically just trying to take advantage of my seller. And anyways, so now I've got an offer on his property, and we were in multiple offers, and we kicked another buyer out, and then that original buyer got kicked out as well. And I know it had a lot to do with our relationship, because he knew that I can get it done, and that he's not going to have to deal with a bunch of bull.
I'm sure you probably have won like multiple offer situations too, like during COVID, just because people are like, this is Casey Tudor.
Yeah.
Like, he's good. He filled out his contract good. I know him. I've worked with him many times.
And I called him, left him a message, told him how I felt about the clients and how we could get it done. And then, of course, too, on the other end, whenever I would be getting multiple offers on my listings, there was, like Ryan Litz is a perfect example. I had like 14 offers, and his name and his reputation just like made it work.
Yeah.
And it was the best offer, and it was definitely the right choice, and it worked.
I remember, not necessarily me, but whenever I bought my first house, before I even got in real estate, and my realtor, it was like multiple offer situations during that. It was like 2015, and I kept losing. And so finally, the house that I'm in now, multiple offer situation, but I had to have closing costs. I was first time home buyer, had no money. I remember him calling me up, telling me that the offer was accepted. And even though my offer wasn't the highest offer, the agent knew who he was. And that's why my offer won. And it made me feel so good as a client. I was like, thank you, Steve. Like, you're the best.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a story about remind me afterwards.
Oh,
I didn't hear
gosh.
what you said, but okay, I'll remind you.
Okay.
I'm not going to make you repeat it.
But no, I mean,
okay,
there's multiple maybe like tactics to go out and meet people. I mean, social media, first off,
I was
like
just going to say, like,
the biggest way.
just like go and cheer on other people in the industry instead
like when
of
they get a
instead
house
of,
under contract, congrats.
Yeah, even if they're not with your broker, like let's just treat each other how we want to be treated, right? I mean, it's simple golden rule stuff here, guys.
Well,
you know,
also,
like
Right.
this shit is freaking hard
Yes,
sometimes,
it
and
is.
it is defeating. And if somebody else, I mean, sometimes it's the little things. Somebody's out there having a crappy day, and then somebody comments like, "Hey, congrats," or "You're
Yeah.
doing great." That could mean the world to somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
Quit, getting jealous of people's success and they're doing stuff and that we're not, and or
You're just jealous because you're lazy and you're not working as hard.
Yeah, or that it's not happening for you, and that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen for you. Like everyone's
Right.
time is different. Everyone, if you stay consistent and stay true to like your why and what your mission is in this industry, then things are going to continue to grow and you're going to do well, right? It doesn't have, but we have these expectations that we set on ourselves that it has to be as good as the next person or better, or we have such fragile egos in real
Yeah.
estate. It's really sad, in a
Yeah.
way. And I think that's what creates this hostility between our peers. But if we can somehow, the competition will always be there, and I think competition is good. It makes all of us try to be better. But at the same time, if somebody does something or thinks of an idea, and you're like, "Oh, that's cool," like just recognize it as such and say, "Man, I wish I would have thought of that. That's awesome." Or keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Like some of their stuff. Offer to help if you think you can help with anything. And so I think just doing those things, and like Brooke was talking about, like there's so many things you can do to get out in the public and just
There's networking or
meet
events
people,
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, anything
I think
can-
the same type of people show up to those networking events, but
Right.
but at the same time, like
I think it depends on the market, though,
yeah,
too.
for sure.
Our networking here is way different than
Florida.
Florida and Texas.
I think anything
Yeah.
competitive, like especially real estate, or if you're gonna
It
go
sells.
to the NBA or something like that, industries like that are they're very good at exposing you as a person.
Yeah.
And you have to be really good at changing your mindset and growing as a person and learning how to handle those situations so you can be in it for the long haul. Like those guys that are in the NBA, like people don't realize, but they're like probably never home.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're either flying to the next state, flying back home, playing game, going to practice, doing photo shoots, all their PR stuff they do. It's like they've got to be very, and their families, they all have to be very mentally tough to be the best they can be, to max out their contract.
People want the lifestyle of those people with their lifestyle,
Yeah.
But they're
not changing.
blasted. Like, look at the news about Justin Bieber recently. Like, he just came out with his new album and stuff, but people have been dragging him through the media,
Yeah,
saying
when you're a
like he's
public figure.
depressed, he's broke, and just
Oh, yeah.
because it's Justin Bieber and he's like trying to live his life, probably,
Oh yeah.
But because he's not out here doing stuff, people are like, there's something wrong.
Right.
But no, just make friends with people, cheer people on.
Because when you do that, then they're going to want to work with you too,
Yeah.
and be willing to negotiate with you and like work together to get a deal under contract and get the deal to the closing table instead of fighting you every step of the way. And
People like good
you
energies.
but you got to remember that even if you do all these things, just like you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, you can't treat the right agent that's gonna treat you the wrong way. Like you can't. You guys.
I see what you tried to do.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't do it right. You can't. You can do everything perfect, and there's gonna be agents that are just going to be difficult to work with and
Yeah.
challenging, and you're just gonna have to work through it to the best of your ability.
At that point, just take care of yourself at that point
Yeah.
and just keep your own sanity sane.
Yep.
So, but I think that's good.
Yeah.
Educational values. So just set expectations always from the beginning. Communication, I think, is like just a big one in general. Doing when you have those hard conversations, make sure you have good tactics when you're dealing and talking to those people. Curtis put into perspective several good things from even before, like showing up a little bit late, like showing professionalism and going along those ways. And then be friends with everyone. Cheer everybody on. Take care of our peers. Don't look at them as competition. There's plenty of business for everybody out there. We all operate differently, and some people want to go and take it all and do hundreds of transactions, and some people just want to simply help people, and that's okay too. So,
Yeah. Nice
turn.
work. My turn.
I was like, you like looked at me and I got awkward.
I was just listening. All right, guys, as we come to an end, thank you guys so much for tuning in, listening, watching, and, click the bell, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, love each other. And we're signing off. I'm Casey Tudor. This is Curtis Haddock and Brooke
Messy.